episode on My Point of View with Opeyemi. My name is Opeyemi Adewale and I'm a lady living with visual impairment. If you're a first viewer, you're welcome. It's a big family. Just ensure you're ready to learn something. So on today's episode, or before I even continue, the month of October is actually a very unique month to me and to almost everybody. Point of view involves around issues that concerns persons generally and also persons living with disability. October 15th happened to be celebrated for persons living with visual impairment. It's titled International White Cane Day. So I know you're wondering, what's White Cane Day? So White Cane Day is like this. It's called, some people call it the mobility cane, some people call it white cane, but I call it guide cane. So it aids a visually impaired person move from one place to another. Sometimes a visually impaired person will need help from one place to another. When he or she stretches out the cane this way, it is just to signal to any sighted person around on getting their attention. It's also collapsible, but I'm not here for guide cane, as much as I hope that you've learned that for a blind person who uses a guide cane, whenever you see them around, you just walk up to them. You're not to pull them, you're not to drag them, you're not to harass them. You just ask, please, do you need a help, or do you need me to help you? Can I be of help? And you get a response from such persons. But today I have two great minds on today's episode. They'll be sharing their story, Nii and Bukola. I hope you get to listen and enjoy the little words they have for us today. Thank you.
My name is Bukola Adeniji. I'm a visual impaired lady. I lost my sight 7 years ago due to high fever. I'm a caterer by profession. After my secondary school, I went to a catering school. So ever since then, I've been baking, making cakes for all occasion. I also make beans flour. Life before my impairment. I love my catering business so much that at times when I decorate my beautiful cakes, I got emotion, and I will just look at what's the cake I decorate, how beautiful it came out. And so when the eye challenge came in, that was number one breakdown for me. So how can I cope with my decoration? How can I decorate my beautiful cakes again? So actually I spent 4 years after after the eye fever. So I spent 4 years indoor, crying all day. Is this how I'm going to spend my life? So thank God, radio have always been our best friend when it comes to eye challenge of a thing. So I got close to my radio because a lot of my friends, they stopped calling, they stopped coming around. So one day I was listening to a program on the radio, and it's called Sharing Life Issue. So we were asked to call just to talk about how we are feeling. So luckily for me that day, my call went through. So I was talking with the presenter, how I've been abandoned. My friends have stopped coming around and everything. So the lady now said she promised to be my best friend. So ever since then, she's been calling. So one day she now called that she wants to introduce me to a guy. So asking the permission if he can give my number to the person, and I said no problem. So later that day, a guy called me, happens to be Victor Tuya, that works with the Max FM. So Victor Tuya start calling and start encouraging me that do I know I can still go back to my work. I said, how is it possible? So he was telling me about a rehabilitation school. I was like, school? I don't have any plan of going back to school since I'm working. I have my shop before the eye challenge. So after a lot of disturb, he keeps calling, and so I told my younger sister about it. My sister said, why don't I give it a try? So my sister now went to rehabilitation school at Oshodi to go and get me the form. When I got to vocational training school at Oshodi, everything now changed. So my challenge now is getting a shop so that I can showcase what I know how to do best. My cake stuff, my beans flour business, to show the world what I can do. So for now, I'm still doing the little I can do concerning my business. My hobbies, wow. I love traveling. Then two, I love sports. I'm a power lifter.
Wow.
So I love sports. And thank God my impairment gave me the opportunity to go into sports. So I lift weight very, very well. I've learned to live with my present condition. So I don't really, it's only the aspects of my business. Then when I have to go out, I don't wait for anybody. I discipline myself towards that. I don't have to wait for anybody before I make my move. So that gives me, there's this joy in me that I don't have to wait for anybody before I can do my things. I cook, there's nothing I don't think there's anything I can't do myself. But the only challenge is the transport. And when I have to to go to somewhere, the yellow bus, I don't like having anything to do with them. Thank God for Lagos State government for the BRT stuff. So at times, if I have to go to some area that there's no BRT, I have to spend high, maybe getting a taxifier, because I don't like the way the yellow buses, the way they react to people with impairment. So my advice to the public, I want to tell you that being a visually impaired person doesn't mean you have to turn yourself to a beggar, or maybe you are a beggar. I will advise you, once it comes, just embrace your present situation, find a way around it, and you are good to go. Because this my impairments have made me to, I've met with a lot of people living with visual impairment. I've met with people that are married, they have their kids. I have met some people in high position that they have their cars, they have their driver that is carrying them around, and they are doing well with their present situation. If not for my impairment, I will even know that people with visual impairments are doing beautifully well outside there. Once it comes, just find your way around it, try to move on. Or if you have anybody living with visual impairments, don't look down on them. Try and encourage them. And the most number one key is love. Show them love. because my family, I thank God for my family. It's their love that keeps me going up to date. Just show them love. Anytime you see us outside, show us love so that we can be encouraged to do more. I love points of view with Opeyemi.
My name is Adini Ajayi. I'm a visually impaired person. I lost my sight in 1998, and afterwards I went to Pacheli School for the Blind, the special primary school for persons living with visual impairment. From there, I proceeded to secondary school, Iwa College, and from there I went to University of Lagos to study political science, which I graduated 2017. Before I got blind, the environment, I think the environment is a kind of beautiful. Seeing the environment, seeing the nature of the nature, and seeing beautiful animals, it was an interesting thing for me. But after getting blind, it was something that it was difficult for me. But I have to cope. With the help of the training from my primary school, I was able to cope. I was able to mingle with people and then build my self-esteem. And it has been interesting. It's an interesting time now. The challenges I faced has been a mixture of good and bad. For instance, mobility. Majority of Nigerians, they are not aware of this particular issues that we face. Some of them are not ready to assist, while some are not, maybe because of cultural stuff, they don't want to assist. But sometimes I can say I've benefited from the community as well, because throughout my educational process, I've received support, massive support from students, from friends and family, and it has actually been interesting. Okay, another challenge I think I face is immediately after my school. Getting a job has not been easy, and I think the society and government have to do more about giving opportunity to persons living with visual impairment. Society should not determine or decide what we can do. We can as well do well just the way other sighted ones can do. I love point of view with Opeyemi.
Welcome back. I hope you've learned so much or a little from Nee and Buki. They've shared their story with us today, and yes, that's actually life. Some people go blind in the course of life. Some people get blind from birth. Accident happens and all. But I'm glad that Nee and Buki have been able to share their great story. Yeah, I know if you can see, you might be worried about one problem, the other problem, someone disturbing you, how do you move on with life and all. Yes, I understand these situations can be teary, but there are people living with maybe more serious situation and they are making life very, very comfortable. So I would urge that you please pick up yourself from wherever you are, face life as it comes. Every day has its own challenge. So if you don't face today's challenge, how would you move on to tomorrow's challenge? And if you don't face it, everything compiles together and it becomes so much and it might lead to depression and all. If you're a visually impaired person, you're like, how did I go blind? Why am I blind? Yes, I know it can be very, very disheartening, very emotional, very disorganizing. It means you have to start your career from wheresoever. Just put yourself up together and face life. Like, it comes like that. Anything that happens is what you just have to embrace and you move on. Life would actually be very beautiful. I hope this episode has actually been very insightful to you. If yes, don't forget to drop your comments, subscribe, and like. If you need help reaching out to any rehabilitation centers and all, you can just send a mail to pointofviewwithopeyemi@gmail.com. Thanks for joining with me today. I'll see you in the next episode. Opeyemi cares.